From being the most least played healer to the most played healer, 1015 is bringing us the Holy Paladin rework. This rework has been long overdue, and myself and many other healers are more than happy to finally come back and play arguably the funnest healer in the game. In today's video, I'll be doing an overview on what's new about Holy Paladin, the major key points to Holy Paladin, and what also I think could be potentially bad about the spec and what could be better about the spec. Note, I don't know everything, I'm just a guy who loves Holy Paladin, so if there's any information that I might have missed or gone wrong, do roast me and consider liking and hitting that subscribe button. So our general talents tree is actually going to be offering us some very vital talents to make Holy Paladin 10 times better. So starting off, we have Obduracy. Obduracy now gives us 2% damage reduction to AoE effects. Pretty cool, lots of AoE in the game, but Greater Judgment is the all-star of this entire tree. This gives us damage prevention, where previously it made it so our Holy Shocks and I believe our Crusader Strikes did 30% increased damage to our judged target. Now, if I have to judge this guy's face right here, I'm going to be preventing the next 23,000 damage this guy does to me. Now, however, BigTuna, that seems pretty low. Is it really worth it? It is, for a multitude of reasons. Why? Because A, you can stack this effect. I don't know how large you can stack this effect to. I'm assuming there's a cap, but for right now, it's going to be stacking fairly high. So you're judging on CD, you're just building up that damage prevention. Pretty cool. Now, why is this important? Because we're going to be judging on CD, because Holy Power now comes from Judgment. This is probably the most welcome change in all of this rework. Holy Power now comes from Judgment. One Holy Power. It is amazing. It feels a lot more smoother. But we also have interactions and certain talents that will beef up that percentage of damage prevention coming from our Greater Judgment. So I will talk about that in a little bit. That's in our Holy Paladin tree. But basically, Greater Judgment itself and Judgment in general are going to be very vital spells, and it's going to be the rotational kind of pressing on CD no matter what. Nothing, not earlier, not later. We're going to be pressing Judgment on CD for Holy Power generation and damage prevention. It's going to be very, very vital. Now, coming down here, we have Echoing Blessings. This was in our Holy tree, now it's in our Paladin tree. All right, nothing really too impressive there. Coming down here, Fading Light, Blessing of Dusk is nerfed by 10%. Didn't really understand why. It wasn't even that amazing in the first place, but you know, I guess it's just Blizzard. So Seal of the Crusader is now being changed. It's being completely flipped from what it naturally is. It's making our auto attacks heal nearby allies for, you know, for like 2k damage or 2k healing, comparatively to what it was before, which just gave our auto attacks a chance to deal more holy damage. So the script is flipped. Now we also have Vanguard's Momentum, very, very vital. Vanguard's Momentum is a Rep Paladin talent, and this gives us one extra charge of Hammer of Wrath. It makes Hammer of Wrath generate an additional Holy Power. Very, very strong. This is very strong in comparison to some interactions we have in our Holy Paladin tree. So I'm going to be putting up some information on the screen right now to give you guys a general brief preset of information that is going to be regarding to Holy Paladin in terms of like playstyle changes and kind of like some big stuff. So pause the video if you want to read that, but right now I'm actually going to be going in depth on what's actually being changed and what's actually going to be good, what's potentially dangerous, all that good stuff. So first off, we have Glimmer of Light. Glimmer of Light is going to be our main kind of play style of healing. Now, Glimmer of Light has seen some pretty rough days from BFA to Shadowlands and then coming to Dragonflight. So Glimmer of Light is still going to have the same effect of, you know, you Holy Shock someone, be it enemy or ally, it's going to leave a glimmer on them. Whenever you press Holy Shock again, that target is going to be taking damage or healing, depending on who has your Glimmer of Light. Alright, works the same way as it always does, except there are some few modifications. So A, we have a stacking increased effect, meaning for however many Glimmer of Lights we have active out in the world, we are going to be getting 6% increased healing and damage for our Glimmer of Lights. Now, we also have Glimmer of Light being split evenly. It's kind of unfortunate that's being split evenly instead of just a natural raw healing amount as it is opposed to what we have naturally. But you know what? Because it's having a stacking increased effect, they kind of have to contribute it for something. So now we also have a Dispel protection against Glimmer of Light. So if someone were to dispel my glimmers off of my allies, being it Purge, or if they were to dispel my glimmers off of their allies, it's going to trigger the effect at 100% value. So if they purge my Glimmer of Lights off of my allies, it's going to heal them for the max amount of value it can. And if they are to dispel Glimmer of Lights off of their allies, it's going to be doing the maximum amount of damage it can. Alright, Glimmer of Light is going to be very potent, and of course Glimmer of Light is going to have an insane amount of modifier talents as we go down the tree. So coming down here, we have Light's Conviction. That makes it so Holy Shock now has 2 charges. This alone gives us more healing, and it gives us more holy power generation. Very welcome talent. We come down here, and this is probably one of the biggest changes, and that is our mastery. Our mastering is being reworked. So basically, our Lightbringer now increases your healing based on the target's proximity to either you or your beacon of light, whichever is closer. Now, BigTuna, that sounds the exact same as what we have now. Well, yeah, I'm going to explain it in kind of the most simplest terms I can. All right, obviously the same interaction works the same way. If I'm far away, my heals do less healing. If I'm in front of this guy's face, my heals are going to do more. All right, 34k to a 40k. All right, pretty standard. However, this now also does contribute my beacon of lights, meaning if I'm healing this target right here with my beacon of light on his face, it doesn't matter if I'm 50 yards away or 10 yards away from this guy. He's going to be receiving the maximum amount of benefit from my mastery because the beacon of light is a part of my mastery effect. Same thing if I'm to have Beacon of Faith on this target over here. Have Beacon of Faith on this target right here. He's also going to be receiving the maximum amount of benefit from my mastery because Beacon of Faith mimics Beacon of Light. Pretty cool. Now, BigTuna, what if you heal yourself? Well, I am myself. I'm the closest person to myself because I am me. So if I Flash of Light and do my normal healing on myself, I'm going to be getting the maximum amount of effect of my mastery because I am the closest person to myself. It's very simple and it's very complicated, so yeah, take the information as you will take it. Coming down here, we have Awestruck, another talent choice node, and these talents are very selective in the sense of they're very build reliant. So Awestruck, Holy Shock, Holy Light, and Flash of Light critical healing is increased by 20%. Again, crit is still a very big part of the Holy Paladin toolkit. It's very nice. Now with Awestruck, we also have Holy Infusion. Holy Infusion makes it so our Crusader Strike generates 1 additional holy power and deals 25% more damage. All right, pretty cool. Later down the road, you'll see where these talents kind of fall in line. Coming down here, we have 2 very big talents here. All right, very big milestones, big key points to Holy Paladin. So first we have Divine Favor. Divine Favor is the exact same, other than the fact that we have a shorter cooldown on it and we have a mana reduction tied to it. Now originally they wanted Divine Favor to be a lot stronger and they wanted it to be a 15-second cooldown and make our desired heal instant cast. Now it is not the case. It is now just a 30-second cooldown with the same effect with having mana cost reduction tied to it. Very good, very strong. However, we have a new talent known as Hand of Divinity, which is very strong. So Hand of Divinity, 1.5 minute cooldown, 1.3 second cast time. Call upon the light to empower your spells, causing your next 2 holy lights to heal 80% more and cost 50% less mana and be instant cast. So basically, this is our version of Nature Swiftness, which is a very powerful cooldown for Resto Shamans and for Resto Druids. Very potent. Okay, this talent choice is again having either that consistent heal or that, or that throughput healing. Coming down here on the same row, we have Glistening Radiance. Spending holy power has a 25% chance to trigger Glimmer of Light's healing and damage. Again, we're just going to be flapping out Glimmer of Lights like it's our goddamn job, because it is our job. We're constantly spending holy power, and of course we have that easy holy power generation through Judgment and 2 charges of Holy Shock. This is going to obviously help our damage and healing by miles. So coming over here, we have Imbued Infusion. Consuming Infusion of Light reduces the cooldown of Holy Shock by 2.0 seconds. Again, literally what I was just talking about, having access to a lot more Holy Shock related talents. This is another one of them. 2 charges and CDR for Holy Shock. You can't get better than that. It's very cool. So coming down to our next row here, we have Shining Righteousness. Shield of the Righteous now deals more damage to the first target struck, and every 5 shields makes your next Word of Glory or Light of Dawn cost no holy power. This is going to make Shield of the Righteous a bit better to press, because right now there's like no reason to press it at all. It does give you Crusader Strike CDR, which is cool, but other than that, nothing really worth pressing Shield of the Righteous for. So now this is going to make it, a lot better to press because it's going to be doing more damage, and of course it's going to, help us get some free Word of Glories out there, which is pretty damn cool. So next we have Overflowing Light. This is a very key talent because I do want to talk about this pretty in depth. So 50% of Glimmer of Light's healing, overhealing, is converted to an absorb shield. The shield cannot exceed 15% of max health. Now, why is this so important? Because honestly, it actually doesn't seem that great. Maybe I'm trolling, but the problem with this is that obviously Glimmer of Light is going to be very strong. It's going to be our main way to obviously heal. But you're not really going to be wanting to just sit there and kind of build up this this absorb shield throughout the arena. It's just kind of, if it happens naturally, it happens naturally. I don't think it's something that you want to kind of dedicate time and energy to. But the reason why this is so important to me is because it's a overhealing talent. I really wish there was more overhealing related talents to Holy Paladins. Holy Paladin's main playstyle of healing was having big burst healing. You know, having heals that will heal for the literal maximum amount that you could ever see in all of WoW healers. So the fact that there was no really, you know, overhealing talents in Dragonflight and, you know, Shadowlands and all that stuff was a bit of a pain to see, and it's kind of what led to, you know, some downfalls of Holy Paladin. But seeing this gives me the hope of seeing more overhealing talents that will hopefully be introduced to Holy Paladin. So really looking forward to this. But in general, this talent doesn't really seem that great, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. Light's Protection is a very good talent here. Your allies with Glimmer of Light take 16% reduced damage split evenly amongst your allies. Again, very strong. This is something that is very potent because Holy Paladins don't really have stuff like, you know, like Dome of Light or Earthen Wall Totem, or just like, again, they don't have any micro consistency. They just have pure healing, and then just big CDs like Blessing of Protection, Lay on Hands, Blessing of Sacrifice. They don't really have any micro defensiveness or micro healing that they can give to their allies, or micro support. So Light's Protection is going to be very, very strong for, you know, for our allies and us. Again, this is going to be like permanent 5.5% damage reduction for your allies in the arena. Very strong. And with a certain talent, this will be a lot better in certain scenarios. So come down over here, this is all the exact same, and we have another talent node option. So you have first Illumination. Glimmer of Light can affect up to 5 additional targets. Very, very strong. Glimmer of Light now only affects 3 targets, and with this will bring it back up to that 8 target cap that we naturally have. So of course, the more targets that we can affect with Glimmer of Light, guess what? The more the stacking increase we are going to get in that percentage. You know, 6% stacking increase for 8 targets. That's like what? Do the math. I'm Asian. I suck at math. So yeah, basically a lot more spread healing, which is again really good. Holy Paladin lacks that multi-target healing. Obviously, it mostly comes from our Beacon of Lights, but you know, in 10.1, it's not proving to be enough. So having that spread healing with Glimmer of Light is going to be super welcomed. We also have Blessed Focus. Glimmer of Light's healing and damage is increased by 25%, but it can only affect 1 target at a time. Now, if you're wondering, Nathan, that kind of seems kind of odd, well, look at it this way. All right, obviously the main playstyle of having multiple glimmers out and having multiple glimmers so we can get that stacking increased effectiveness of our healing and damage is very strong. However, if we're just focusing on 1 target, we're focusing on just raw throughput, not only is that Glimmer of Light going to be doing 25% increased damage and healing, but it's also going to be on 1 target, meaning it's not going to have to be split evenly. The raw healing from Glimmer of Light is going to be dumped into this 1 target, meaning Glimmer of Light is going to be doing a crap ton of single target and crap ton of single target healing. So Blessed Focus, I don't know, in theory it sounds amazing, and obviously I'm hyping it up to be really amazing, but in reality, you know, we're still probably going to be playing Illumination, but I can see a world where Blessed Focus can be very strong. And you combine this with something like Light's Protection, you're not going to get that split evenly damage reduction. No, the target who has Glimmer of Light is legit going to have just 16% damage reduction. That's literally the amount of a bark skin, just permanent for the entire game. So a lot of interesting interactions with our talents, which is what makes Holy Paladin so fun in this patch. Now coming down here, we have Divine Revelations, a little bit different from what we have now. The percentage increase from our Flash of Light in terms of healing increase is going to be 20% instead of the natural 10% that we have. And our Holy Light and Judgment will refund 0.5% of our maximum mana. Before it was just Holy Light, now is going to be Judgment as well. Very strong, which makes Judgment all the more reasons to press Judgment on CD. Whole, you know, mana regeneration, very potent. Commanding Light has gotten nerfed. Before it was 20%, now it's 10%. Don't know why. Probably because we're getting that, you know, nice stronger spread healing with Glimmer of Lights. So I'm assuming that's why they nerfed the actual transfer between your beacons. Kind of unfortunate, but you know what, we'll rock with it. Righteous Judgment. Judgment has a 50% chance to cast Consecration at the target's location. The limit on Consecration does not apply to this effect, meaning we're just going to be, if we do take this talent, we're going to be throwing out Judgments, and of course we're pressing Judgment on CD, and we're just going to get some Consecrations out there. Alright, nothing really too special. Consecration isn't really that big of a deal for Holy Paladins, but it is pretty cool. And if you want to play some meme stuff like having Righteous Judgment, having just a, you know, all the 50 million concentration talents and honor talents, go right ahead. It's gonna be pretty funny. Coming down here, we have Divine Glimpse. Holy Shock and Judgment have an 8% critical strike chance. This got nerfed, unfortunately. Before it was like a 15% increased critical strike chance. Now it's an 8% critical strike chance. So pretty darn rough. But you know what? We rock with it. Coming down here, we have another talent node. So we have Reclamation. Reclamation is a very, very good talent. Holy Shock and Crusader Strike refund up to 15% of their mana cost. Again, that mana refunding is going to be so nice to have in Holy Paladin, and deal up to 50% more healing or damage based on the target's missing health. I don't know the threshold of that, of how much that 50% is actually going to kick in. Maybe it's going to be like 10%, you know, around 10% HP, where that maximum benefit of Reclamation is going to be through the roof. But yeah, if you Holy Shock someone at 10% HP, like, they're going to get some massive heals from your Holy Shock. Same thing with, again, your Crusader Strikes. So combine a Reclamation with Holy Infusion, some big Crusader Strike damage. We also have Barrier of Faith. Barrier of Faith is the exact same, other than the fact that it is now also affected by your Holy Shocks instead of just a natural casted heals of Flash of Light and Holy Light, which is very welcomed. Only issue I have with Barrier of Faith is that it's just, again, it's not affected by overhealing. It's not affected by overhealing. It's hard not to heal or overheal with Holy Paladin. You only dump, like, you know, a couple Flash of Lights into your target, and you only get like a 60% or 60k, you know, Barrier of Faith shield. Like, anyone can rip through that with a damn auto attack, you know, randomly. So I really wish this was affected by overhealing, but it's not. So it's really, I hate Barrier of Faith. I sometimes don't even run it on my Holy Paladin, so that's how much I hate it. Coming down to our actual burst CDs, pretty interesting stuff here. So we have Avenging Wrath, all right? Avenging Wrath is actually nerfed, so it's nerfed by 5% in PvP. Before 20%, now 15% critical strike chance. That is pretty hefty, combined with the, you know, natural critical effectiveness nerfs in 10.1. Now having reduced critical strike chance. You know, it's a bit of a sting right there, honestly. So coming to Avenged Crusader, it's actually it's a bit different now. So it's now in a 1 minute CD instead of 45 seconds, and it's also 3 holy power instead of the 5 holy power that we have. So it's the exact same. The healing of it is nerfed. Previously it was 500%, now it is 360%. All right. So our big CDs took a bit of a nerf bat, but, you know, combine it with a lot of other talents in our tree, you know, it's gonna kind of save it. All right, and I'll explain the hype around that. So coming down here, we also have some new stuff. Veneration. This is a talent I was talking about when I was talking about Hammer of Wrath. Hammer of Wrath heals up to 5 injured allies for 200% of the damage done, split evenly among them. That's just pretty darn cool. All right, Vanguard's Momentum. It's going to make Hammer of Wrath a lot better. And of course, Veneration, we're just going to get some free healing. I don't know how much the healing is actually going to be contributed, you know, in actual arena. I don't know if it's going to be pretty low or pretty high, but just getting free healing from doing damage, who doesn't want that? All right, Veneration, very like it a lot. Coming down to our barriers, or to our beacons, nothing really too different here. Beacon of Faith or Beacon of Virtue is a little bit different. The target cap is now 4 instead of 3, and the healing is now 35 instead of 30%, I believe. So it got a bit of a buff, but again, this is a PvE talent, but in RBGs I run this, but I don't know if I'm going to be running it in today's world, because how our mastery works and how potent our, you know, how vital just normal beacons are going to be. Don't know if that's going to see too much plays time. You know, hopefully something gets changed about that. This is our most vital tree right here. Coming down to our actual, you know, big stuff here. Daybreak, the most hyped talent and the most talked about talent. Daybreak. 1 minute CD, instant cast. Absorb your active Glimmer of Lights, triggering their effects at 200% value and granting 3000 mana per Glimmer of Light consumed. Absorb your active Glimmer of Lights. Again, it's going to be removed from the targets that currently have Glimmer of Lights, but it's going to trigger their effects at 200% value, meaning if they're my allies, they're going to get some fatty Glimmer of Light healing, and if they're my enemy, they're going to take some fatty Glimmer of Light damojo. And also, we're going to get 3000 mana per Glimmer of Light consumed. And keep in mind, we can hit up to 8 targets with our Glimmer of Light, meaning we're going to get 24,000 mana back every 1 minute. That's pretty damn large. Every 1 minute, pretty damn nice. We also have Rising Sunlight. This is going to get nerfed eventually. So Rising Sunlight, after casting Daybreak, your next 3 Holy Shocks cast 2 additional times. I get Daybreak out, you know, I get Daybreak out. All right, some pretty gnarly. You know, naturally, I'm probably gonna have all my Glimmer of Lights up, even without Divine Toll. I'm gonna have all my Glimmer of Lights up, the max cap, because you know the amount of Holy Shocks you have and the amount of CDR you have, you're gonna get Holy Shocks out the booty, and you're gonna get Glimmer of Lights out the booty. All right, I'm going to Daybreak. Consume all those Glimmer of Lights. All right, it's gonna be doing a lot of damage, a lot of healing, give me a lot of mana. And then I'm going to Divine Toll, get all my Glimmer of Lights back, and then because I cast a Daybreak, my next 3 Holy Shocks are going to cast 2 additional times. Meaning, you know, let's just Holy Shock this guy, Holy Shock this guy, all right, and I Daybreak, my Glimmer of Lights get consumed, I Divine Toll, watch my Holy Shocks here, it's firing at this guy. It's firing at this guy like a bloody turret, all right? I'm firing at this guy with maximum power, and guess what? It's triggering all those Glimmer of Lights for each one of those Holy Shocks. It's going to be so much damage, so much healing. The amount of Holy Shock, Glimmer of Light interactions that are happening with Holy Paladin is out of this world. It's going to be super damn amazing. All right, so coming down to our next row here, Crusader's Might is 1 talent point with 1.5 second CDR for Holy Shocks. Pretty nice. Previously it was 2 talent points for 2 seconds, but now it's cut in half. Coming down here, we have our main tree down here. This is probably my most concerning tree down here for very good reasons. So we have another talent choice node, and that is between Blessing of Summer and another talent. So Blessing of Summer, you know, your blessings are the exact same. Merciful Auras is a bit different. So Merciful Auras is our new talent, and this is a PvE talent, just flat out PvE talent. Your auras restore 2,500 health to 3 injured allies within 20 yards every 2 seconds. And while Aura Mastery is active, heals all allies within 40 yards, and healing is increased by 50%. PvE talent, it sounds cool. And I have some thoughts about this. We have Empyrean Legacy and Inflorescence of the Sunwell, the same talent node we have always, except Inflorescence is a bit different now. So Inflorescence is going to be super vital. It's going to be absolutely insane. This is going to be, if you do not have Inflorescence up, you are going to be you're not living, you're not playing the game. So basically Inflorescence is now a lot better. It has the same effect of granting us 1 additional charge of Infusion of Light, but this has some better effects. So this increases our Greater Judgment's effect by an additional 50%. Again, that's why I was saying, you know, there's an interaction with Greater Judgment that's going to beef it up, and that interaction is Inflorescence of Sunwell. We're going to beef up our Greater Judgment. We also have mana reduction tied to Flash of Light. Holy Light will generate 2 extra holy power, the same way it always does. So if I get myself a nice crit here, let me get a nice crit. Give me a nice crit. Give me a nice crit. Yeah, man, there's a crit. I look here. We have some empowered spells. Flash of Light now costs 100% less mana. Let me just cast Flash of Light. Boom, mana has not gone down. Let me Judgment real quick. 150% damage prevention. Boom. Like, pretty, I don't think I got it in time. Let me get it again. But, yeah, 150% damage, Damojo prevention from Greater Judgment. Let me just boom this guy. Like, just easy damage. Like, it's just so good. And if I'm to, Holy Light myself, hopefully I get the cast off. Oh, damn it, I didn't get the cast off. If I'm to Holy Light myself, I'm just going to be generating Holy Power out the booty. Like, Infusion Light is becoming so much more vital to our rotation from when it was 10.1 to now. It's amazing. Empyrean Legacy is the exact same, but we have 2 talents here, and this is one of my big concerns, and I will talk about the actual concerns I have with all of this information that we have, and this is definitely one of them. So we have Sanctified Wrath. Sanctified Wrath is the exact same, except it's now in a talent node between Sanctified Wrath and Awakening, 2 talents that we could pick easily in 10.1, but now we cannot. So Sanctified Wrath has been nerfed by 10%, so the CDR for Holy Shock is reduced, which is very unfortunate. And we have Awakening. So Awakening is a lot different now. Awakening, once previously was proc chance based on your Word of Glories and your Light of Dawns. Your Word of Glory and your Light of Dawn, you have a chance to proc your Avenging Wrath or your Avenging Crusader. Now it works the exact same way as Aura Reckoning. Basically, whenever you spend Holy Power, you generate a stack of Awakening. At 12 stacks of Awakening, you will increase the damage and critical strike chance of your Judgment, and it'll give you wings for 12 seconds. Basically, this is just a stacking effect, a way to get wings without needing the cooldown, basically, without needing the actual button. So very, very good. Thing to note about this is you can hold off on this. So if I build up Holy Power here, so I have my Holy Power generated at Awakening. If I'm to generate 12 stacks right here, I don't automatically get the proc. What I do get, though, is this Awakening. So Judgment will deal 30% increased critical damage and will critically strike, and I will get wings for 12 seconds. However, if I'm to generate more Holy Power and obviously get, obviously spend the Holy Power, I will get more Awakening stacks. So you can hold off on this Awakening buff and continuously build up those Awakening stacks. So basically you can overlap your Awakenings. So I can legit probably get another 6 stacks of Awakening and then Judgment, and then just build up those stacks again and shorten the time and increase the amount of uptime I have of my wings. Pretty interesting stuff there. I don't know if that's supposed to happen, but it's in the game, so I'm gonna assume that's the way it works. So pretty interesting information right there. And then coming over here, we have Glorious Dawn. Holy Shock has a 10% chance to refund a charge when cast, and increasing by 1.5% for each Glimmer of Light you have active. Again, you can get Glimmer of Light up to 8 targets. You're going to get some fatty, refunding on your Holy Shock charges. And Glimmer of Light's healing and damage is increased by 10%. Very, very strong. All right, coming down over here, we actually have some Tears of Deliverance changes. Same CD, same cast time, same exact effect, but the main thing comes from Boundless Salvation. So your Holy Shock, Flash of Lights, and Holy Lights will actually extend the duration of your Tears of Deliverance. Previously, this only was affected by your Flash of Lights and Holy Lights, and it can only be extended up to 5 seconds, or to give you 5 extra seconds with a 50-second cap. Now, your Holy Lights, Flash of Lights, and Holy Shocks have their own different extensions, and the max can only be at 40 seconds. So basically, it's going to be a lot easier to extend your Tears of Deliverance. Now, BigTuna, why is this important? Well, now that it's actually easier to extend Tears of Deliverance, Tears of Deliverance can play a big role, as in we now are able to almost keep up Tears of Deliverance up the entire duration of its cooldown. Now, why is that important? Because you look at the bottom text, allies healed also receive 25% increased healing from your Holy Light, Flash of Light, and Holy Shock spells for 12 seconds, meaning I can have literally permanent 25% increased healing on myself and all my allies. Perma 15% increased healing. That's pretty damn gnarly. So that's what makes Tears of Deliverance kind of like a little interesting talent that we may run into certain stuff. Coming to our honor talents, we have some different stuff here. Pretty much everything is the exact same. Cleanse the Weak now has a cooldown, which is very unfortunate, but it made sense. This was actually very strong against survival hunters, assassination rogues, DKs. Constantly cleansing legit everybody on your team was pretty strong. So now they were actually giving us a cooldown in it. So the cooldown of cleanse will be increased by 4 seconds. Pretty unfortunate, but very much needed. We have Divine Plea. Divine Plea, a new talent. So after casting Daybreak, you restore 24,000 mana over 15 seconds, but your healing and damage is decreased by 30%, and Daybreak no longer restores mana from each Glimmer consumed. BigTuna, why the hell would I take that? The max cap of Glimmer of Light is 8 targets, and if I'm to Daybreak, I can get 3,000 mana per Glimmer of Light. I get 24,000 mana instantly, and I don't get the healing and damage debuff. This more so focuses towards stuff like your Blessed Focus, where again you can only have Glimmer of Light on one target, and so you'll be able to get the benefit of that of having that mana regeneration. But of course you still will have that healing and damage decrease. So I don't really know how this is going to play in the meta. Maybe there's some hidden interaction that I'm not too familiar with, but you know what, we'll see how it all pans out. Denounce is probably the most excited thing I'm excited for. So Denounce, replace Shield of the Righteousness. All right, 3 Holy Power, 1.3 second cast time. Cast down the enemy with a bolt of Holy Light, causing 222,000 holy damage and preventing the target from causing critical effects for 8 seconds. Pretty damn wild. All right, now I don't know how this is gonna really work and really be, you know, valuable in the meta. Obviously, just anti-crit is pretty powerful. Look at Warlocks. Now, this can be cleansed constantly, so it does suck. But guess what? It can be cleansed constantly. This can also be applied constantly. So if I'm getting that, you know, that holy power generation, cool. I denounce this fool. Guess what? There's no cooldown on it. Meaning, if I just build up another holy power, you know, maybe get some divine purpose procs out there, I could just boop, and then boop. You know, like I could just throw out denounces on everybody, on fools if I really want to. So pretty cool, it's pretty cool talent. I don't know how valuable it's gonna be, but on paper it seems pretty nice, you know. And then obviously combine that with Shining Righteousness, you might get some cool stuff. So that is the actual overview of the talents. Now I'm gonna be talking about what I think is potentially dangerous about the spec in terms of where we're gonna have some very big faults. So kind of coming down the list, you know, I'll start lightly and talk about some pretty dead talents I kind of wish was a little bit different. So starting off pretty light, I'm actually going to talk about Unending Light. Unending Light I wish was a flip-flop talent. I wish this worked in both ways, meaning if I am to spend Holy Power on Light of Dawn, it'll increase the healing of my Word of Glory by 5% up to a maximum of 45%. And if I'm going to be spending Holy Power on my Word of Glory, I will get the 5% stacking effect increase to my Light of Dawn, just to make Light of Dawn actually worth pressing, because Light of Dawn is just, you never press it at all in any scenario, literally whatsoever. There's no reason to press Light of Dawn. So to have that flip-flop healing increase to Word of Glory and Light of Dawn could be pretty interesting, because if you look through all, you know, of what I talked about in terms of, you know, the overview that I just went over, there wasn't really that many Word of Glory affected talents other than stuff like Shining Righteousness. Other than that, not a lot of Word of Glory interactions that we have, so I kind of wish Unending Light was a little flip around. Coming down to this talent node right here, Divine Favor versus Hand of Divinity, I'm very scared about this, because the main reason why we have this talent node is because it's because of the disparity between throughput and consistency. One of the big issues that Holy Paladin was facing in 10.1 was the lack of consistency, the lack of consistent heals, and the lack of consistent and present healing, damage reduction, CDs, all that good stuff. The stuff that other healers had, which is kind of what makes, you know, a lot of other healers just more playable than Holy Paladin. Because, for example, again, Holy Paladin's main way of healing is having that big burst healing. But guess what? Preservation Evokers and, you know, and Holy Priests and, you know, pretty much almost every healer can heal the same amount of Holy Paladin, except have those micro interactions of, you know, damage reduction, healing, and just you know, more ally support, whereas Holy Paladins didn't really have any of that. So this talent node will reflect basically just that. Do you want to have consistency with Divine Favor, or do you want to have throughput with Hand of Divinity? Now, of course, the theory and the, you know, and the reasoning behind these two talents is there. The disparity between them is just completely massive. The amount of value Hand of Divinity has over Divine Favor is literally night and day. Instant cast, has the mana reduction, and will pretty much be available during almost every single go. Why would I take Divine Favor and Hand of Divinity? We're already getting a lot of that, you know, consistent healing through stuff like Glimmer of Light and all of our other Glimmer of Light talents. So Divine Favor kind of becomes a little bit less valuable, and that throughput, that insane throughput of Hand of Divinity becomes 10 times more valuable than Divine Favor. So maybe I'm in my head, but that's kind of what I'm thinking here. Power of the Silverhand is a talent that I kind of wish was a little bit different in kind of my own sense. So basically the way it works is whenever I cast Flash of Light, Holy Light, or Judgment, I have a chance to get a Silverhand proc, which makes it so my next Holy Shock will be increased by 10% for all the damage and healing I do for the next 10 seconds with a cap of 230%. 230,000, my bad. But the problem with this is 10% is pretty low. The proc chance, at least the last time I played with this ability, the proc chance was super low. So I kind of wish it worked a bit differently. I kind of wish if I'm to cast Holy Light or Flash of Light on any target, be it myself or, you know, one of my allies, it'll place the Silverhand on them. And basically what will work is the amount of damage they take, 30% of the damage they take will be converted, or maybe 20%, I don't know, 30% of the amount of damage they take will be converted into increasing the effectiveness of my next Holy Shock with obviously, you know, that cap of healing. That's how I wish it worked, because here's the thing is that you're going to be spamming Holy Shocks constantly on CD, because again, we have so much CDR, we have 2 charges of it, we have, you know, a lot of Holy Shock support to constantly get Holy Shocks, you know, out there and, you know, refunded. So, you know, when you're constantly doing that, the value of Power of the Silver Hand gets pretty much crop dusted because you don't have time to build up this Holy Shock because you're constantly Holy Shocking, meaning you're constantly resetting the amount of stacking heals you're getting from Power of the Silver Hand. So that's why I wish it was a damage taking effect. The amount of damage taken will increase the effectiveness of your next Holy Shock because again, you're always taking damage, and there's probably a moment where you're going to take just a random 120k hit, so it's going to give you a little bit of good healing, extra healing for your Holy Shock. That's how I wish it worked. Now, probably my biggest concern is how weak our cooldowns are, Avenging Wrath and Avenging Crusader. Now, these got nerfed pretty hard. Again, Avenging Wrath, it got nerfed by 5%, which is, I don't understand why, because not only has critical effectiveness been nerfed in 10.1, now we're having less critical strike chance through the nerf to Avenging Wrath, the 5% nerf, and also the nerf to Divine Glimpse. Before it was 15%, now it's 8%. So we're getting less critical strikes from our Holy Shocks, and we're having less critical strike chance during that Avenging Wrath window. And you come down here, Sanctified Wrath, which was always just a really solid talent that we always picked, is also nerfed, meaning that CDR of our Holy Shock is going to be reduced. I mean, this doesn't really matter, to be honest, because, I mean, we have so much CDR and refunding of charges for Holy Shock, so this doesn't really mean that much. There's a lot of stuff that's pinned against Avenging Wrath. Comparatively to, we look at Avenging Crusader. Avenging Crusader is, in my opinion, going to be way better than Avenging Wrath because you have a lot of stuff that supports Avenging Crusader. You have stuff like Holy Infusion, which is going to give Crusader Strike more damage. We also have Reclamation that's going to be giving us more damage based on the target's, missing HP, which means more damage from Crusader Strikes, meaning more healing. And of course, we are getting that CDR through our Crusader Strikes because, that's just how the way the cooldown works. We also have stuff like Awakening. Awakening is going to be stacking up so fast for us because we have so much holy power generation through, Judgment and Holy Shocks and all that good stuff. So we're going to be building up Awakening super fast. And guess what? Avenging Crusader is on a 1-minute CD. So when Avenging Crusader is over and Avenging Crusader is coming off cooldown, we're going to have those Awakening stacks pretty much ready to go. And we're going to have so much uptime on Avenging Crusader, to cycle through that 1-minute CD and our stacks with Awakening. Also, with the fact that we have Judgment on a lower cooldown rate because of the way Avenging Crusader works, we're going to get more damage prevention from greater Judgment. We're going to be getting more Judgments out there, meaning we're going to get more holy power. And also, because we're going to get that higher uptime with Avenging Crusader and Awakening kind of rotations, it's going to make Veneration so much more better. Because when we take a Veneration combined with Vanguard's Momentum, we're constantly proccing Avenging Crusader, meaning we're going to constantly be having Hammer of Wraths just ready to go. No matter the HP of the current target, we're going to be generating holy power, we're going to be doing a lot of damage, and we're also going to be getting heals out through our Veneration. So there's so much stuff that supports Avenging Crusader comparatively to Avenging Wrath that doesn't synergize well. Again, it's not Tuesday yet. We haven't really done any thorough testing, and this is all just, what I'm seeing on my screen right now. But that's kind of what that's the ideas I'm getting. Something else I want to point out, I don't understand why we have these two talents here. The problem with talent nodes in Dragonflight, which I've always had a gripe with, is Blizzard doesn't understand what talent nodes are supposed to be. Talent nodes are supposed to be talents where you want to pick one during one situation and one during the other situation. Obviously, we have two different game modes, PvE and PvP, meaning we have different talents for your desired game mode. Now, what's unfortunate is Blizzard takes the idea of having different talents for different game modes and puts them in these talent node slots. Now, in some cases, it is very good, like for example, Divine Favor and Hand of Divinity. Why? Because the concept is there. Do you want consistency with Divine Favor, or do you want throughput with Hand of Divinity? They're both lying in the same category. But then you have something like Blessings versus Merciful Auras, that have nothing in common. Blessings are their own spell, and Merciful Auras relies on the aura you're using. It makes no sense why these two are in the same are in the same talent node. And even by that, I wish Merciful Auras wasn't even a talent. I wish, if anything, I wish Merciful Auras was its own aura, because there's no reason why this is with Blessing of Summer. Also, I wish Blessing of Summer was a bit different. This is kind of like my own personal gripe. I kind of wish it was more rotational in the sense of having a lower CD and having a lower duration. So I kind of wish it was 20-second CD, 20-second duration, so you can kind of just easily flow through them. But that's just kind of like my own personal gripe with them. But yeah, again, I don't understand why something like Blessing of Summer and Merciful Auras is in the same talent node. They have nothing in common, and no one's going to pick Merciful Auras. And honor talents, I really wish honor talents were, you know, a bit cleaner. For example, Avenging Wrath or Avenging Light, I wish this worked a bit differently, because right now no one takes this, no one ever will take this. For RPGs, for 3v3, no way in hell. This can be pretty funny with something like Hand of Divinity. Get some fatty Holy Lights and get some fatty Avenging Lights. 30% of the damage that of your Holy Light healing will be converted to damage. Pretty cool. I wish whenever you do Holy Light, that 30% conversion of healing to damage was to radiate from your targets with your beacon of light. So instead of that 10-yard radius around me, which no one's really going to be around me because I don't have to be in close range to do whatever the hell it is I need to do, or legit remove this talent, because there's no reason why this is here. There's no way people are going to press Light of Dawn unless, like I said, unless they change Unending Light the way I said to change it. No reason to press this at all. Searing Glare, I wish was completely different. Searing Glare is so bad. They removed Light's Grace for this talent, and it's the worst decision they ever made. I wish this worked in two different ways. I wish it worked like a darkness. Every 1 minute you place a searing pool of light on the ground. You can be wherever the hell you want it to be. It's going to be a AoE, and your allies that are standing within this light of amazingness will have a 30% chance to dodge attacks and spells. 2-minute CD, or however long you want to put it, or make it work like a blur. 1 holy power, I'm to cast this onto my ally, be instant cast. They will dodge spells for 4 seconds. All right, something like that, because this is just like it's just really bad. Like it's really hard to make. Either remove it because it's just so bad, there's no reason to ever play this, or change it in some form of way to make it a lot more enticing to play. This is another example of disparity between two talents, and Fluorescence has become just super damn vital because of, again, the amount of support it has to your judgments, to your Flash of Light mana reduction, and also the fact that, again, you have imbued infusions. So whenever you do get those Holy Lights off, or your those judgments off, you will get CDR on your Holy Shocks. Inflorescence becomes so dominant over Empyrean Legacy that I never even liked Empyrean Legacy, and I don't even like it now, especially because you don't have Awakening the way it works previously. Again, previously Awakening works whenever you Word of Glory or Light of Dawn, you have a chance to proc Wings. Now that's not in the game anymore because Awakening is completely reworked. This makes Empyrean Legacy just not very vital anymore. So you'll really only have the healing of it, which doesn't matter because the healing of it is like 30k. No one cares. It's not anywhere near relevant. And it still empowered your judgment. Your judgment has become so vital that you want to press it on CD that you can't really wait and hold on for something like Empyrean Legacy. You can't sit there and wait in time, in your judgment to get your Empyrean Legacy off, because either way, the effectiveness of Empyrean Legacy is just super bad, and the fact that it's still tied to judgment is also really bad because judgment has a lot more uses, a lot more purpose than just simply getting a Light of Dawn out there. Again, you have Awakening, you have Greater Judgment, you have generating Holy Power. Like, Empyrean Legacy just falls off 10 times harder. Also, I wish Lay on Hands, much like for every other Paladin out there, wish it wasn't affected by dampening. There's no reason why one of our biggest abilities, one of our biggest, support items as a Paladin in general, the minute dampening ramps up to 20 by 1%, the Light on Hands becomes completely useless. So yes, of course, I'm very happy about the rework. There obviously is some stuff that, again, I am very concerned about, that maybe I shouldn't be concerned about because, again, there's just no proper testing to be done until Tuesday. So, of course, everything, as I said in this video, is speculation in terms of, what I covered in the sense of stuff being very bad and overshadowed. That's all speculation because there's no really good testing to be done. We have to just wait till Tuesday, wait for the next week to roll out and see what Blizzard wants to do in terms of buffs, nerfs, changes, reworking of certain talents, any of that good stuff. But guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think are the big takeaways replace Holy Paladin? Why are you going to play Holy Paladin in 10.1.5? What are you most excited about, and what are your thoughts on what I talked about in terms of the concerning factors of Holy Paladin coming to 10.1.5? Anyways, guys, hopefully you all had a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next live. Peace.